Okay, I wanted to briefly, very briefly, go into the motives for colonization. This is a vast simplification of this whole thing, but I wanted to quickly go over it in case you've forgotten it from your middle school social studies class, which we all had to learn this. And at the time, you're like, why do I need to know what the cash crop of Virginia was? But actually, it's kind of interest to us now. So I just wanted to briefly go over. So the way the colonies were, the 13 colonies, there were the New England colonies in the north. This would be, Massachusetts, Connecticut, for example. These were examples of New England colonies. They were colonized pretty much predominantly for religious reasons. Their society revolved around religion. The clergy were the leaders of those societies. The commerce for them would have been trade, fishing, shipbuilding, things like that. And there were different religions. So, they're not all Puritans, or, the Puritans were not the Pilgrims, and then there were what was called the Separatists, which were a total break from the Anglican Church. And then you just had others that were Puritans, which were kind of like a branch of the Anglican Church. They didn't totally separate from the church. So you had a lot of different levels and a lot of different people, and they didn't necessarily get along either. But on the whole, the New England colonies were settled for religious reasons. Now, then you've got the middle colonies. This would be like Pennsylvania, New York. And there were a variety of reasons why people would settle in these areas. So it would be they could settle possibly for religious reasons, possibly for economic reasons. The makeup here in these middle colonies was much more diverse. So you had English, Dutch, German, lots of Quakers that settled in Pennsylvania. Now the Quakers were not anything like the Puritans up in New England. So the Quakers were all about, freedom. Freedom, you don't tell me what to do, we don't tell you what to do. They were called the Society of Friends, still are, in fact. They were against slavery. So, and then Maryland, founded by, I think, Lord Baltimore, Maryland had a lot of Catholics. So you've got kind of this wide variety for settling in the middle colonies. Then you've got the southern colonies. Now the southern colonies, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, those are examples of the southern colonies. The reasons for settling there were almost always economic. So the society in the colonies was very hierarchical based on land ownership. The landowners were the leaders. Plantations were the big money makers. Cash crops, tobacco, rice, things like that. So their society ran off of plantations, ran off of first indentured servants, and then eventually slavery. So, boy, that's annoying. So the reason I wanted to go into that is because we were always taught that the colonies were broken out that way. So would go your family. So you have family that colonized first in New England, family that colonized in Virginia, and so this is how your family would be. So your family that were colonizing Virginia did so for economic reasons. So go figure. History was actually right about that.